At my husband's birthday party, one of his female friends got completely drunk, thinking I was doing a good deed. I asked my husband to take her home. To my surprise, she suddenly lashed out, "Why do you have to tell him? He's taken me home countless times." I froze. She then leaned in with a smirk, "Ethan's good in bed, right? Absolutely incredible, isn't he?" I shoved her away fiercely. "What are you talking about?" She continued to provoke me. "What am I talking about? I mean, I'm the one who taught him. Every time he satisfied me, I'd let him go back. Otherwise, why would you get to enjoy yourself? Your man was trained by me. He'll only touch you if I allow him to sleep with you." I was thunderstruck. I thought of those passionate nights, his overly skilled techniques, and all those moments when he clearly had a reaction but stubbornly refused to touch me. The room instantly fell silent. Trembling, I reached for Ethan's hand, hoping he would tell me it wasn't true, but he silently pulled away. In that moment, my heart died completely. "Since you all want to make a joke out of me, I'll grant your wish." The air around us solidified. Ethan's friends, seeing the situation was dire, quickly tried to smooth things over. "Sister-in-law, Ashley grew up with Ethan. When she's drunk, she just babbles nonsense. Don't take it to heart." Ashley, sister-in-law, misunderstood. Quickly clarify things and apologize to her. Ashley deliberately leaned against Ethan, placing her hand on his crotch. I forgot sister-in-law was still here. Otherwise brother would have already carried me to the presidential suite to take care of me. By now, I could have had 4 or 5 releases. "Sorry, sister-in-law. Next time we have dinner, you shouldn't come. If you sit next to us, people might mistake you for a mistress, and that wouldn't be good." "Ashley," Ethan gently pushed her away and sat beside me, softening his tone. "Wife, don't misunderstand. Ashley is just drunk. She doesn't mean anything by it. She doesn't mean anything by it." I had heard those 6 words from him countless times. On the day Ethan and I got married, she crashed our wedding with a forged pregnancy test result. She threw the wedding into chaos, making me the laughingstock of Metropolis City. And he said she didn't mean anything by it? After found out I was pregnant, she put abortion pills in my milk. She falsely claimed she mistook them for prenatal vitamins, causing me to miscarry. And he said she didn't mean anything by it? I exhausted every method to get Ethan to send her abroad. I thought that once she was gone, I could live a peaceful life. Reality, however, slapped me hard. The noisy music in the private room pulled me back to my senses. Seeing that I hadn't spoken for a long time, they had already formed a circle and started playing the pass the tissue game. I stood alone in the corner of the private room, feeling completely out of place. I watched Ashley pass a tissue, less than a centimeter wide, towards Ethan's lips. I grabbed the fruit knife from the table and slashed at Ashley's wrist. The moment the blade broke her pale skin, blood gushed out. Ashley shrieked, quickly recoiling into Ethan's arms. "You're crazy. What are you doing, you shrew?" Ethan immediately shielded her in his arms and raised his hand, slapping me across the face. I scoffed, my eyes filled with resolve. "Let's settle all scores, old and new. I don't mean anything by it either." With that, I swung the beer bottle from the table and smashed it down hard on his head. It was only then that the others present realized I was serious and quickly moved to protect Ethan. Ethan, ignoring the blood pouring from his head, held Ashley tightly, yelling at me like a madman. "Olivia, do you think I won't call the police to arrest you?" I met his gaze. "Go ahead. It's a good opportunity to settle the score for you hiring someone to kidnap me." Ashley panicked, grabbing Ethan's arm and exclaiming defiantly, "Is this the kind of girlfriend you chose? She's going to send me to the police station in a minute. Control her." Ethan stood up, staring directly at me. "Olivia, have all these years of your gentleness and understanding been an act? Why have you suddenly become like this? Apologize to Ashley right now, and I can pretend nothing happened." "An act?" I scoffed. "It's because I was too good at acting that I ended up in a position where anyone could walk all over me today." Ashley continued to yell. "Ethan, didn't I tell you? Women like her only pretend until after marriage. Once they're married, their true colors immediately show." Ethan's face was terrifyingly dark, a stark contrast to how he looked 5 years ago when he knelt and begged me to marry him. 5 years ago, he was framed, his shares were swindled, and he lost everything. I didn't care about his fame or fortune. When he was penniless and had nothing, I accepted his proposal. At that time, my parents objected. To get the funds to help him make a comeback, I broke ties with my family. Later, he became a rising business star in Metropolis City. showering me with affection in various ways. I thought I had gambled correctly, but it wasn't until Ashley appeared that I understood. I was nothing but a joke. I picked up my phone to call the police, but before I could unlock it, Ethan's hand struck my face. I lost my balance and fell backward, hitting a cabinet corner. A sharp pain shot through me, and my white dress was stained blood red. The pain made my vision swim, and I couldn't control my body as I fell backward, collapsing onto the floor. Olivia, do you hate Ashley that much? If you truly want to destroy everything, I'll play along. With the Harrison family's current power, getting rid of you would be effortless. His words were like a heavy rain, extinguishing all my expectations for him over the past 5 years. Ethan, I gave up everything to put you on that pedestal, and now you want to use that very knife to kill me. I was in too much pain to utter a word. Ethan walked towards me, step by step, still intending to strike, but his friends pulled him back. The ambulance is here. You and Ashley are injured. Getting to the hospital is the priority. Hearing's name. He regained a sliver of reason. He turned and walked to Ashley, bent down, picked her up in his arms, and walked out the door without looking back. I lay in a pool of blood, and not a single person spared me a glance. Finally, it was the server who came to clean the private room who saw me covered in blood and took me to the hospital. After my wounds were bandaged, I went home and drafted the divorce papers I had endured for 5 years. It was time to settle this score properly. I sat on the sofa, waiting from midnight until dawn. At 7 a.m., the rumble of a car engine sounded, and Ethan returned. The villa door was pushed open from outside. He had gauze bandages wrapped around his head, and his face was grim. He came over and sat beside me. Didn't sleep all night? Come upstairs. I'll coax you to sleep. He always used to coax me like this after every argument. I loved him to my core. Every time he showed me a little kindness, no matter what had happened, I would forgive him. I lowered my gaze, and my eyes landed on a lipstick stain on his collar. There was also a residue of an unknown white liquid on his pant leg. A wave of nausea swept over me, and I barely managed to hold back from throwing up. Sign the divorce agreement. Ethan frowned, his impatience almost spilling from his eyes. Olivia, are you still making a scene? I no longer had the energy to argue with him. Just then, Ashley's phone call came in. Ethan, you were injured last night but still went at it so hard. I can't apply the medicine myself. Come over and help me. Ashley's voice sickened me. Ethan stood up to leave, but I locked the villa door. Sign the divorce papers, or you're not leaving this door today. Ethan's eyes darkened. He picked up the pen, flipped to the last page of the contract, and swiftly signed his name. His usual caution, which made him review contracts 3 times, vanished completely in Ashley's presence. Before leaving, Ethan dropped a final remark. Olivia, if you dare to pull a stunt like this again, I'll make you regret it. His words were like 10,000 silver needles piercing the softest part of my heart. There wouldn't be a second time. Ethan, it was over between us. I was about to pack my belongings and leave the place I had lived for 5 years when Eleanor called. Olivia, you've been married into the family for 5 years now. You handle my birthday celebration this year. The doctor says I only have 3 months left. This might be the last birthday you celebrate with me. I was about to refuse, but hearing her last sentence, I swallowed my refusal. Eleanor was Ethan's birth mother. From the day I married Ethan, she had treated me like her own daughter, regardless of whether they were rich or not. Okay. I agreed to the old woman's last wish and hung up the phone. A week later, for the birthday banquet, I chose Harrison as the venue. As soon as I entered, I saw Ethan sitting at the head table, his arm around Ashley. Seeing me, Ethan's face darkened. You're divorced, yet you're still here. Olivia, aren't you shameless? In front of all the guests, he left me no shred of dignity. Upon hearing about the divorce, everyone's gazes turned towards me. Ethan stood up, holding Ashley's hand. Since everyone is here, I have some good news to announce. During my mother's birthday banquet, the family will have an heir. Ashley is pregnant with my child. This news struck me like a bolt of lightning, leaving me breathless. The last time Ashley hired someone to throw me into an ice pit, I hadn't fully recovered and developed a chronic illness. The doctor said my uterus had suffered severe trauma, making it impossible for me to ever conceive. When I learned this news, Ethan had comforted me all night. I'll only acknowledge the child in your womb. If we can't have one, we won't. If you can't get pregnant, don't. It saves you from having to expend extra energy on a child. And I get jealous. His previous words were like wind blowing through my ears, scattering and gone. Hearing about Ashley's pregnancy, whispers erupted around us. I knew they weren't getting along. Mr. Ethan has been bringing Miss to events lately. Is it because Olivia can't have children? What happened to her body? Could she be going out on dates with other men every night? Yes. Miss is a much better match for Mr. Ethan. They're a perfect couple, made for each other. Everyone was praising the two of them, as if I were the wicked mistress. Seeing the commotion outside, Eleanor emerged, leaning on her cane. Hearing the disrespectful remarks directed at me, Eleanor flung her cane away. Who dares to say a bad word about Olivia? What are you two doing here? Eleanor pointed at Ethan and Ashley, yelling to protect me at all costs. One is a seductive vixen who'd sleep with anyone, and the other is an ungrateful dog. You've forgotten all of Olivia's kindness. Your conscience has been eaten by dogs. Both of you. Get out! Don't step foot in this estate without my permission. Eleanor cursed until she was breathless, giving me, as a daughter-in-law, the last bit of confidence in this family. With clarification, the chatter among the crowd immediately shifted direction. All the criticism turned towards Ethan and Ashley. In the end, the banquet ended on a sour note. That night, I returned home to pack my things and leave. Spending one more second in that house made me feel suffocated. As I was going downstairs to leave, the villa door was opened from outside. Ethan walked in, radiating a terribly low pressure. His eyes were bloodshot. He grabbed me by the neck and dragged me towards the basement. Ethan, you're insane. Suffocation instantly enveloped me. I was choked by his grip. He kicked open the basement door, the same place where those who leaked company secrets used to be held. Why did you have to make a scene at my mother's birthday party? What exactly did you tell her? Ashley is now being misunderstood by everyone in Metropolis City. How is she supposed to stay here after this? Didn't I tell you? Ashley has depression. If I had been a moment later, she would have slit her wrists. Do you understand? With every shout, Ethan's grip tightened. He didn't release me until I was barely conscious. He tied me to a chair with a rope, picked up a dagger from nearby, and plunged it fiercely into my wrist. Ashley almost died by slitting her wrists. This pain is what you owe her. With that, he picked up the alcohol from the table and poured it onto my wound. The cold metal pierced my skin, and pain swept through my brain. I cried out, unable to even beg for mercy, but acted as if he hadn't heard, walking away more decisively than anyone. Before closing the basement door, he didn't forget to instruct the servants, anyone who dares to save her is asking to die. With that, he left without looking back. Blood slowly drained from my body. My wrist throbbed with a sharp pain, but it was nothing compared to the pain in my heart. My vision gradually darkened, and the sounds around me slowly faded. Drowsiness crept in, and I knew I couldn't hold on much longer. No one would come to save me tonight. I was doomed to die. Looking at the dagger on the floor, I mustered all my strength and crawled towards it. Since I was going to die anyway, why torture myself like this? Why not just end it quickly? But, Ethan, I will remember you forever. I will hate you forever. While I lay dying in the basement, Ethan was in the middle of a bachelor party with Ashley and his friends. They were kissing deeply in front of everyone, celebrating his freedom from me. Amidst the noisy music and shouts, urgent footsteps echoed outside the door. Ethan's assistant burst in, panting, "Mr. Ethan, bad news. Someone has reported you for falsifying accounts at the company, and the police are outside now." The festive atmosphere was shattered. Ethan was about to explode. Hearing the last words, he instantly panicked, dropping his wineglass which shattered on the floor. "Go find Olivia. Doesn't she usually manage the company? Miss. She's gone." Ethan's face instantly turned pale. The crisp sound of the glass shattering on the floor mixed with the music in the private room, sounding particularly grating. He abruptly pushed Ashley away from his embrace. "What do you mean? Gone? I locked her in the basement. How could she be gone?" The assistant wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, his words stumbling. I just went to the basement. The lock was pried open. There was only a pool of blood on the floor, and the dagger you used earlier. Miss is nowhere to be found." Ashley sat beside him, her fingers tightly clutching her skirt hem. A flicker of panic crossed her eyes, but she still feigned composure and tugged on Ethan's sleeve. "Ethan, don't panic. Maybe she ran away herself? She hates you so much. She must be hiding on purpose." Ethan shook off her hand, his eyes filled with irritation. "Shut up. Can't you see I'm stressed? If I get caught for falsifying accounts, I'll go to prison. It was the first time he had spoken so harshly to Ashley. Ashley froze, then burst into tears. Feeling wronged, you're scolding me because of that woman? I'm carrying your child. Before could reply, the police pushed the door open. The police officer's footsteps on the private room carpet were muffled but carried an irresistible sense of oppression. The lead officer flashed his ID, his gaze sweeping over the chaotic bottles and revelers before settling on Ethan. Mr. Ethan, we've received a sworn report that you are suspected of tax evasion and falsifying financial statements. Please come with us for questioning. Ethan's back instantly stiffened. He instinctively took a step back, only to see Ashley trying to escape through the window. The police behind them quickly apprehended her. Miss, is that right? We've discovered illegal transactions between you and the Harrisons' corporate accounts. You'll have to come with us too. Ashley instantly turned on him. Ethan gave me all of this willingly. It has nothing to do with me. He's the company's legal representative, and he's the one who committed the offenses. Why are you arresting me? She covered her lower abdomen, her face showing a perfectly timed panic, as if she were just an innocent bystander. Ethan's heart sank. It was then he realized that the woman who always clung to him and acted spoiled would, in the face of real trouble, immediately push him forward. Officers, have you made a mistake? Ethan feigned composure, trying to buy time. Our company's accounts have always been strictly managed by my ex-wife, Olivia. Perhaps she's holding a grudge and deliberately framing me. Framing? The officer raised an eyebrow and pulled a stack of documents from a folder. These are the fraudulent contracts you signed and confirmed, as well as records of company funds transferred to your private account. Every transaction bears your signature and proof of transfer. The documents were handed to Ethan. The signatures on the paper were bold and flowing, identical to his usual handwriting on contracts. Those were the fake accounts he had made behind my back to buy Ashley limited edition bags, cars, and watches. Ethan's fingers trembled. He couldn't even hold the documents steady. No, impossible. Ethan slumped onto the sofa, his eyes hollow. She loved me so much. How could she do this to me? The police continued. Ms. Ashley, we also received a report that you are suspected of intentional assault against Olivia and illegal detention. Please come with us too. Ashley's face instantly turned ashen. She, who had just been frantically trying to distance herself, desperately grabbed Ethan's pant leg and cried, Ethan, save me. I didn't do it. Olivia is framing me. I'm carrying your baby. Ethan looked at her hysterical state and suddenly felt utterly unfamiliar with her. Before they could argue further, the police took them away. Meanwhile, I woke up in a bed in a downtown center VIP suite. My mother sat on the sofa, shedding tears of distress, while an unfamiliar man sat by my bed, wiping my wounds. I had only seen this man in pictures, a top financial magnate who had returned from studying abroad, arranged by my father as a marriage prospect 5 years ago. The warmth of his fingertips came through the gauze, gentle, unlike his rumored decisive nature. I stared at the discreet Patek on his wrist, suddenly recalling what my father had said 5 years ago when he put Liam's photo in front of me. Liam is a thoughtful and reliable young man. But at that time, my mind was entirely consumed by Ethan, and I had thrown the photo into the trash can. Now, looking back, I had been wrong from the very beginning. If you're awake, stop staring at me. Liam put down the cotton swab, his voice gentle. The doctor said you lost a lot of blood and need another half a month to recover. My mother quickly came over, holding my hand and crying, Olivia, if only you had listened to me earlier and broken ties with someone like Ethan, you wouldn't have suffered like this. If hadn't found you, your life, she didn't finish the sentence. But I knew that if it weren't for Liam, I probably would have died in that basement. Thank you. I spoke softly, my voice still hoarse from just waking up. In the VIP hospital room, Liam stayed with me from morning until night, longer than my parents. Mr. Shen, you have your own things to attend to. There's no need to stay. After all, I was the one who broke off the engagement first. You have no obligation to take care of me. Liam looked up at me. Want to hear what happened outside during the 3 days you were unconscious? I nodded. Liam picked up a tablet, opened a news page, and handed it to me. Harrison's stock price has hit its daily limit for 3 consecutive days and has now been suspended from trading by the Securities Commission for investigation. The evidence of false accounts you submitted was too comprehensive. Not only can Ethan not escape, but his executives who assisted him have also been taken away by the police. I looked at the headline Harrison on the brink of bankruptcy on the screen, my fingertips trembling slightly. That was the company I had built with Ethan from a small office. He once said he would give this company to me as a gift, but in the end, it became a tool for him to please Ashley. And, Liam continued, I've already entrusted the evidence of her hiring people to kidnap you to the police. Regarding the incident where you were thrown into the ice lake back then, the person who did it has now confessed, saying Ashley gave him $500,000 to dispose of you cleanly. Hearing the words ice lake, I couldn't help but shiver. I still clearly remember how cold the midwinter lake water was, and how painful it was when a brick hit my head. At that time, Ethan clearly saw the wound on my head, saw my frozen, bruised hands and feet, yet he still chose to believe Ashley's lies. How is she now? I asked softly. She's still making a fuss in the detention center, claiming she's pregnant and the police can't arrest her. Liam's tone carried a hint of sarcasm, but the doctor has already examined her. She's not pregnant at all. The previous sonogram report was forged. I was stunned. Ashley, to win Ethan, could even fabricate such a lie? And Ethan actually believed it. He had never doubted Ashley, yet he was suspicious of me at every turn, even defending her when she caused my miscarriage and almost killed me. After hearing about the situation outside, I repeated what I had said earlier, you don't have to keep staying with me, Mr. Shen. You can go attend to your own matters. You are my matter, he said. I was startled. What do you mean? Shall we join forces, miss? He suddenly leaned closer, his nose almost touching mine. 8 years ago, because of his arrogant temper, he ruined my father's financial company, and my father was driven to suicide. We have a common enemy, don't we? I looked into his eyes, which held only sincerity and seriousness. Furthermore, the entire metropolis city is now abuzz with your and Ethan's affairs. Now that Ethan has been arrested, no company will want to hire you, except for mine. I agreed. The terms he offered were indeed very tempting, and the path he laid out was also my last resort. Liam's words were like a stone dropped into the still waters of my heart, creating ripples. I had never heard about Ethan ruining Liam's father's company 8 years ago. At that time, I was still immersed in the deep affection lies he had spun, believing him to be just a pitiful man who had been framed and lost everything. It turned out that behind his glamorous comeback lay such a sordid past. What do you need me to do? I looked up at him. In the past, I always passively endured. Now, I wanted to actively fight back, not just for myself, but for all those Ethan had harmed. Liam handed me a folder. These are the proofs of Harrison's early embezzlement and suppression of competitors, as well as the false accounting materials you submitted earlier. We can submit them together to the prosecutor's office to add to Ethan's crimes. Additionally, I've contacted the former employees whom Ethan forced out years ago, and they're willing to testify. I opened the folder. Every page was clearly annotated, even including the proof of transfer record showing Ethan swindling my family's funds for our marriage 5 years ago to establish connections. It turned out Liam had been investigating Ethan for a long time. His proposal to collaborate with me was not a whim, but a long-planned strategy. There are countless people more capable than me. Why must it be me? I couldn't help but ask. Liam put down his coffee. The first time I saw you was at a business gala 5 years ago. I had no intention of attending, but I was curious about the kind of man you'd reject me for. That night, Miss was wearing a white dress, wasn't she? It was very beautiful, and the diamond necklace matched it perfectly. You handled everyone with grace. If I'm not mistaken, Miss closed at least 4 deals that night. His words made my eyes well up, and my throat felt like it was clogged with cotton. Ethan had never shown me such consideration. He would only tell me to endure it when I was wronged and chose to stand with Ashley when I needed protection. Over the next half-month, I healed in the hospital while organizing evidence with Liam. He brought me updates every day. Ethan was caught trying to collude in the detention center. Ashley faced additional charges for forging pregnancy test results and obstructing justice. Harrison's assets were frozen. Creditors swarmed, and the Harrison family completely collapsed. On the day I was discharged, Eleanor called and asked me to visit Harrison. From afar, I saw Eleanor sitting on the stone steps at the entrance, her hair gray, her face haggard. Seeing me, she quickly stood up, her voice hoarse. Olivia, you're here. Ethan. Mom, I know you're upset, but what Ethan did cannot be undone with just an I'm sorry. I helped her with her arm and said softly, I'm here today to tell you that I'll find you a good nursing home. I'll take care of your living arrangements from now on. Eleanor shook her head and took out her savings account details from her pocket. No need, Olivia. These are my last savings. You take them. Ethan wronged you in the past, and as his mother, I don't have the face to ask you to care for me anymore. I pushed the savings account details back, my eyes reddening. Mom, I'll always remember your kindness. This small matter is something I should do. Eleanor looked at me, tears falling. If only Ethan could be as sensible as you. After leaving the estate, Liam and I went to court. The case was set to open that afternoon, and we were to attend as plaintiffs. As we entered the courtroom, Ethan and Ashley had already been brought in. Ethan wore a gray prison uniform, his hair slicked to his scalp, his former air of a business magnate completely gone. Ashley kept her head down, her once arrogant demeanor completely subdued, only a flicker of resentment in her eyes when she saw me. The trial began, and the prosecutor presented evidence one by one. When the projector displayed the transfer records of Ethan embezzling my family's funds for our marriage, Ethan abruptly looked up and roared at me, "Olivia, you kept even this? Were you planning to harm me all along?" The bailiff immediately stepped forward and restrained him. "Defendant, please remain silent." I looked at his hysterical state and found it quite laughable. He never considered that all the plunder he thought was taken for granted was meticulously recorded by me. When I gave him my family's funds for our marriage, I did so with the expectation of building a good life with him. Now, I was presenting the evidence to make him pay for his greed. When it was Ashley's turn, the prosecutor played the recording of the witness from my kidnapping. Miss said that if I threw Olivia into the ice lake and made sure she didn't survive, she would give me $500,000. The voice in the recording was rough, but it clearly echoed through the courtroom. Ashley instantly broke down, crying and screaming from the defendant's stand. "It wasn't me. He's lying. Olivia bribed him to frame me." "Framing?" Liam stood up, presenting a document as a witness. "This is Ashley's bank statement for the transfer to the kidnapper, and her chat records with the kidnapper. The account number and phone number on them are hers." "How do you explain this?" Ashley's face instantly turned pale, and she couldn't utter another word. In the face of ironclad evidence, all their excuses became powerless. The presiding judge struck the gavel, and a cold voice echoed through the courtroom. "Defendants and Ashley, do you object to the evidence presented by the prosecution?" Ethan's shoulders slumped, his former arrogance replaced by despair. He opened his mouth, but in the end, just shook his head. Ashley collapsed at the defendant's stand, tears streaming down her face, mixed with snot, still muttering, "It wasn't me, it really wasn't me." During the final statements, Ethan looked up, staring intently at me. "Olivia, I admit I wronged you, but aren't you also to blame? If you weren't so overbearing, always insisting on being right, how would Ashley and I have ended up together?" Watching him twist black into white, the last shred of my past affections completely vanished. I stood up. "Ethan, 5 years ago, I started from scratch with you, giving you all the funds for our marriage my parents provided for your business. I even drank until I had stomach bleeding just to help you secure collaborations. I never asked you for great wealth. I only hoped you would be honest with me and responsible for our family. But what did you do? You condoned Ashley harming me, causing my miscarriage, watched me get thrown into an ice lake without lifting a finger, and finally tried to lock me in the basement to silence me. Now you call me overbearing, but it's just an excuse for your betrayal and cruelty." I paused, my gaze sweeping over everyone present. "I stand here today not for revenge, but to make those who have harmed me pay for their actions." Silence fell over the courtroom after my words. Eleanor sat in the spectator area, covering her face with a handkerchief, her shoulders shaking uncontrollably. Finally, the judge announced the verdict. Defendant was found guilty of tax evasion, embezzlement, and illegal detention, with cumulative penalties. He was sentenced to 17 years in prison and confiscation of all personal property. Defendant was found guilty of intentional assault, kidnapping, and forgery of official documents, with cumulative penalties. She was sentenced to 11 years in prison. The moment the verdict was read, Ethan let out a desperate howl and was forcibly escorted out by the bailiffs. Ashley seemed to have all her strength drained, collapsing on the floor, allowing the bailiffs to drag her away. Watching their retreating figures, I felt no exhilaration of revenge, only a sense of calm as dust settled. Afterward, Liam took me to his company, standing before the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at the bustling crowds below. He said, "Olivia, I know you have an attachment to the Harrison, but that's in the past. I want to entrust my company to you to manage. Are you willing?" I was stunned and turned to look at him. Liam looked down at me. "You have the capability. This place will be your new beginning." Seeing his sincerity, a warm feeling surged through me. Ethan had never truly acknowledged my abilities. He only saw me as a clinging vine dependent on him. but saw my value and offered me a stage to showcase my talents. I am willing. I nodded vigorously, my eyes filled with anticipation. In the following days, I dedicated myself entirely to work. Liam gave me ample trust and space, allowing me to reform the company's financial system and expand into new business areas according to my own ideas. Thanks to my efforts, the company's performance soared, and the employees' attitudes toward me changed from initial skepticism to recognition. These days, whenever I worked late, I would always see the light on in his office. He never allowed me to attend business dinners alone. He would block drinks for me, and he would drive me home. He would adjust the company cafeteria to suit my taste, and even when I fell asleep working overtime, he would gently carry me to his executive lounge. He would let me lie on his bed, covered with his blanket. Ethan had never done any of these things for me. 6 months later, I led the company to secure the largest partnership in the city. The company held a celebration banquet specifically for me. Today, besides this business matter, I also have an announcement for everyone. He walked off the stage, and under everyone's gaze, he knelt on one knee and pulled out a ring. Olivia, this company needs a leading lady. Will you consider being her? Tears instantly welled up in my eyes. It was then I realized that, without even noticing, I had already embraced a life with Liam constantly by my side. The spotlight shone down on us, and a burst of warm applause erupted around us. Looking at the deep affection in Liam's eyes, I couldn't hold back my tears. Ethan had never given me such a romantic gesture. He would only brush me off when I needed a commitment, but showed me, through his actions, what true love and respect really meant. Yes, I will. I extended my hand, watching Liam slip the ring onto my ring finger. The wedding was set for 3 months later. Eleanor couldn't attend in person due to her health, but she sent someone to bring me a diamond necklace. Inside the necklace box was a note: Olivia, wishing you a happy marriage and eternal happiness. Life after the wedding was simple yet heartwarming. Liam remembered all my preferences, prepared late-night snacks for me when I worked late, and took me to the beach or hiking on weekends. He never demanded that I be a perfect wife. Instead, he wanted me to be my true self. He cherished every one of my emotional changes. He had told me countless times that he didn't care about my past, only wanted to give me a perfect future. Indeed, if Ethan had stayed true to his original intentions, if Ashley hadn't interfered, perhaps our lives would have turned out differently. But there are no what-ifs in life. The past is irrevocably gone. The pain of the past had become nourishment for growth, and those who hurt me would eventually be forgotten by time. As for me, I had finally broken free from the shadows of the past and found my own happiness. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.